Chrysostomus ceremony, Metropolitan of Niranam Diocese, the Vice President of this hospital, and great pillar of support for all of us. Welcome, Tirumeni. Now I welcome Advocate Sri Pramod Narayan sir, the respected member of Legislative Assembly of Kerala State from Rani. Sir, we welcome you to this meeting. We are grateful to you, sir, spending your precious time with us. We all know how much busy you are today, and we know that you rescheduled 2 of your meetings to be with us in this Parimala family today, and kindly accept your gratitude and appreciation for that, sir. Now I welcome the distinguished guests from Russia. We are all thrilled and excited to see all of you, our friends from Russia, because of the warm relationship we have with your country. And the Orthodox Church of India, though much smaller in size, had a sisterly relationship with the mighty Russian Orthodox Church. It is a matter of great pride for me to state that the present Catholicos, the very owner of this hospital, had his higher theological studies in the reputed Leningrad Theological Seminary of the Russian Orthodox Church. Our generation grew up reading not only Tolstoy, Dostoevsky and Chekhov, but also the Russian folk stories. Baba Yaga, the witch, was known to every child in Kerala because the extensive translation of Russian books to Malayalam. And we also know about Rasputin and his secret love affairs also. And once again, my dear friends from Russia, we welcome a very warm welcome to you all, to the incredible India and to the God's own country Kerala and the holy land of Parimala. And few words about our nephrology and urology department. These departments are made for each other and doing a wonderful job. We have already become an established kidney transplant center in a short span of life. I am happy and proud to state that these two departments have grown together to the level of Center of Excellence in Central Kerala. Now I welcome all doctors, staff and health workers of these two departments because it is your day. Now I welcome our own CEO, Reverend Father M.C. Paulos Sachin, and I am thankful for him for his brilliant leadership. And the last, I welcome all of you gathered here for this wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, I welcome Metropolitan of Diocese of Niranam, His Grace, Dr. Yuvanan Mar Chrysostomus, to deliver the presidential address.
Glory be to the Father, Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Greetings to one and all, with heartfelt joy and pleasure. We are really pleased to have the kind presence of a group of doctors from Russia. We are spending the time here in this hospital from yesterday onwards. Couple of months back, along with Baba Tirumeni, His Holiness, we a team of from the Malangara Orthodox Church could visit the Russian Orthodox Church. Father Stefan is with us. He was arranging everything and we had a good time in Russia. Malangara Orthodox Church and the Russian Orthodox Church has a strong history of long years of close association, brotherhood and friendship. We want to maintain, not only to maintain, but we want to make it more stronger and deeper. This is a very glorious occasion to have. During our bilateral discussions, one of the agendas was how can we tie up together in the medical field, and the thinking and the work are going on side by side, and I hope that it would help both Parimala Hospital and the Russian Orthodox Church and their medical activities. One of the uniqueness of the team I noticed is, here we have two Reverend Fathers, two priests. One is Father Stephen, and the other is a father and a doctor. And I was telling him that you are the doctor of both body and soul. Today we are celebrating the part of the World Kidney Day celebration. We are also joining in this celebration. Kindly permit me to switch to my own mother tongue. ഇന്ന് വളരെ വൃക്കരോഗം ഒരു പകർച്ച രോഗമല്ല, വ്യാധിയല്ല. പക്ഷേ ഇത് വൃക്കരോഗികളുടെ എണ്ണം നാൾക്ക് നാൾ വർദ്ധിച്ചു വരുന്നു എന്നുള്ളത് എന്നെപ്പോലെ നിങ്ങൾക്കും ബോധ്യം ഉണ്ടാകും. മാറി വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ജീവിത സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ, പ്രായ ലിംഗഭേദമെന്നേ അനേകരെ ഈ രോഗത്തിന് അടിമപ്പെടുത്തുന്നു. ഇന്ന് ദൈവത്തിൻ്റെ കൃപയാൽ ഈ കിഡ്നി ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ വൃക്കരോഗവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഭംഗിയായി കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യത്തക്കവണ്ണം പനിമല ആശുപത്രിയുടെ യൂറോളജി ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെൻറ്റും നെഫ്രോളജി ഡിപ്പാർട്ട്മെൻറ്റും വളർന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞു എന്നറിയിക്കുന്നതിൽ ഏറെ സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. എന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല, കിഡ്നി ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റ് ചെയ്യത്തക്കവണ്ണം ഈ ആശുപത്രി വളർന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞു. 3 ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റ് ഇവിടെ കഴിഞ്ഞു. അതിന് ഉള്ള എല്ലാ പ്രാപ്തിയും ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ആശുപത്രിക്കുണ്ട്. എന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല, കഴിഞ്ഞ കുറേ ദിവസങ്ങൾക്ക് മുമ്പ് സഹോദരൻ പദ്ധതിയുടെ ഭാഗമായി പരിശുദ്ധ ഭാവാതിരുമേനി പരിമല പള്ളി അങ്കണത്തിൽ വെച്ച് പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചു. സാമ്പത്തികമായി പിന്നോക്കം നിൽക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്ക് അവർക്ക് വളരെ കൺസെഷൻ റേറ്റിൽ, സബ്സിഡൈസ്ഡ് റേറ്റിൽ ഈ കിഡ്നി ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ തക്കവണ്ണം ആശുപത്രിയും അതുപോലെ സഹോദരൻ പദ്ധതിയും കൂടെ ചേർന്ന് ചെയ്യാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു എന്ന്. ഈ മഹത്തായ സംരംഭങ്ങൾ അനുഗ്രഹമായി തീരട്ടെ എന്ന് പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുകയും ആശംസിക്കുകയും ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട്, once again may I extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to our beloved Russian team. May God bless you all and thank you.
Thank you, Tirmeni. Next I welcome on stage Dr. Zarov Alexei, Director and Head of Autonomous Non-Profit Organization, Central Clinical Hospital of St. Alexius, for speech. The speech will be delivered in Russian language, which will be translated to English by official translator Ms. Zarova Evdokia.
Namaskaram. Дорогой Владыка Хризостом,
Your
Дорогие-
Eminence, dear Metropolitan Chrysostom,
дорогие отцы, руководители клиники, руководители центров клинических, дорогие коллеги и, конечно, дорогие высокие гости, мы счастливы быть в Индии, счастливы быть в вашем городе и счастливы быть в этой клинике.
so again, Your Eminence, dear Metropolitan Chrysostom, the distinguished assembly, the guests and our colleagues, we are really happy to be in India and we are happy to attend this meeting.
Отношения Индии и России имеют очень серьезный фундамент и многовековой.
The relationships between Russia and India are long-term, and they have a very fundamental basis.
Но я не политик, я человек и врач, и я хочу сказать свое личное ощущение, и это личное ощущение всех наших людей, с кем мы приехали, то, что для нас Индия, вот с самого нашего рождения, это прекрасная страна, сказочная страна, это страна, в которой у русского человека самое доброе отношение, самая добрая ассоциация, только хорошие ассоциации.
I'm not a politician, I'm a doctor, and I wanted to share with you my personal impression I have of India. From the very early childhood, we have been brought up that India is a friendly country, and this is exactly the impression we have.
Но сейчас, вот несколько лет тому назад, в 2019 году, для меня Индия стала еще ближе, так как в нашу больницу, в нашу клинику святителя Алексея приехал святейший католикос Василий Марфома Павел II. И мы могли встретиться, познакомиться.
But in 2019, this country, India, became even closer to us when His Holiness Catholicos Basileus Marthoma Matthew III visited Moscow.
Мы были приглашены, мы показали нашу больницу, нашу клинику. Времени было не очень много, но тем не менее мы были под большим впечатлением от общения с этим великим человеком.
He was invited to our hospital, and although we didn't spend much time together, we still were impressed by this great person.
И мы получили приглашение побывать тоже в Индии.
And so we got the invitation to visit India as well.
И очень важно, что вот это общение, вот эта традиция добрых отношений, которые существуют между русским народом и народом Индии, они укрепляются еще отношениями, добрыми, братскими отношениями между Русской Православной Церковью и Православной Маланкарской Церковью.
And it is of utmost importance that the friendly relationships we have always had with India, they are also formed by the special relationships we have between Malankaran Syrian Orthodox Church and the Russian Orthodox Church.
Мы не первая делегация Русской Православной Церкви, которая приезжает в Индию в гости к Маланкарской Церкви, но мы первые врачи, которые приехали для того, чтобы ознакомиться с вашим опытом. И очень важно, что это наше общение начинает такое же практическое значение иметь.
We aren't the first Russian delegation in India, but we're the first team of doctors to visit India. And it is really important that our experience is practical.
Мы от всего сердца благодарим и святейшего католикоса, и руководство клиники, которые за эти 2 дня позволили нам познакомиться максимально с клиникой, ответили на все наши вопросы, позволили нам заглянуть в каждый угол, который нас интересовал.
We are really grateful to His Holiness Catholicos and also to the administration of the hospital who allowed us to go in each corner of this hospital to visit all the departments and get the valuable knowledge.
И мы увидели очень современную клинику, которая отвечает самым высоким стандартам международным по оказанию медицинской помощи. Это очень-очень высокий уровень.
And we have seen an extremely high level of medicine in this hospital. So your hospital responds to the high international medical standards.
Удивительно, что в этой клинике практически нет задач, которые нельзя было бы решить, которые встречаются у человека с его здоровьем. Нет проблем, да, которые нельзя разрешить.
Miraculously, in this hospital, there aren't any any problems which can't be solved. So you offer solutions to all health problems people can have.
Здесь очень много направлений, и в каждой клинике, в каждом направлении, в каждом центре работают замечательные специалисты, высокие профессионалы.
There are plenty of directions and departments, and in each department there are real professionals who are highly qualified.
Мы, увидев это, можем сказать, нам очень интересно дальше продолжать общение.
Having seen that, we would like to say that it is really interesting for us and perspective to continue our relationships and collaboration.
Мы были бы рады, чтобы наши специалисты имели возможность приехать и воспринять опыт докторов клиники Святого Григория Парамалы.
We would be grateful if our specialists could come to the Saint Gregorius of Parumala Hospital and get the experience from your doctors.
Также, конечно, мы от всего сердца были бы рады видеть и специалистов клиники Григория Парамалы в Москве, для того, чтобы посмотреть наш опыт и для того, чтобы познакомиться с замечательной русской культурой.
What is more, we would be really grateful if your specialists of the Hospital of St. Gregorius of Parumala could come to the St. Alexis Hospital in Moscow and exchange your experience with our experience.
Мы благодарим Бога за то, что Он нам дал возможность побывать здесь.
We're grateful to God because He gave us the opportunity to be in this wonderful place.
И смотрим в будущее.
And we're looking in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zarov and Ms. Zarova, for those wonderful words.
Please. I would like to invite Father Stephen. He is the head of the Interchurch Relations both Russia and Malankara Orthodox Church. Earlier he told me he didn't speak anything, but now I invite him to speak a few words, please.
Thank you very much, dearest Father, and our beloved Romania Metropolitan Chrysostomos. Let me asking your blessings for everything what we're doing in our common work. Distinguished representative of the government. Yes, we also greet you and all the guests, all the participants, all the colleagues, because it's a meeting between colleagues, between doctors from both sides. Many important issues were mentioned by our director of our hospital, and he mentioned a very important thing, which I want to underline again and again. We praise God to give the eternal life our beloved Catholicos Basilios Martoma Paulus II, from whom we started this project of our cooperation. And we asking blessings, and we thank current Catholicos, His Holiness Basilios Martoma Matthäus III, for supporting and providing this cooperation together with our Patriarch, His Holiness Kirill, Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia, because our director mentioned that we have really good relations and historical friendship between our nations, Russian and Indian, between our people, and many good examples of this. But really, what we're doing now, we're doing two things. We provide these relations for more deep level, which is spiritual level, and we're trying to do some concrete projects, like the projects in social area and medical area, which could be more concrete than this for serving people. So in this we together, church serves to people in their needs, and doctors, medical institutions do the same, but from another side. When we collaborate in these areas, we do it more and more effective, as I think. And as a symbol of all this cooperation and friendship between our two hospitals, let us give some symbolical but very important gift. The Holy Protector of your hospital is St. Gregorius of Parumala, and Holy Protector of Hospital of St. Alexei is the Saint Alexei. He was also bishop in Moscow like Gregorius, and they are very similar. So we sure that together in the heaven they pray for our churches and for our hospitals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father Stephen. Next is the lamp lighting ceremony. I request all dignitaries on stage to please come forward and light the lamp. Thank you, everyone.
ഉദ്ഘാടന പ്രസംഗത്തിനായി റാന്നി എം.എൽ.എ. ബഹുമാന്യനായ ശ്രീ പ്രമോദ് നാരായണനെ സാദരം ക്ഷണിച്ചുകൊള്ളുന്നു.
സാന്നിധ്യത്താലും വാക്കുകളാലും ഈ സായാഹ്നത്തെ അനുഗ്രഹീതമാക്കുന്ന ഞാനേറെ ബഹുമാനിക്കുന്ന ഡോക്ടർ യോഹന്നാൻ മാർ ക്രിസ്റ്റോമോസ് തിരുമേനിയോട് ചോദിച്ചത്, ആദ്യമായിട്ടാണ് പരുമല ഹോസ്പിറ്റൽ വരുന്നത്, ഇതുകൊണ്ട് എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇത്രയും കാലം വരാതിരുന്നത് എന്നാണ്. സിനിമയിൽ തിലകനോട് പൃഥ്വിരാജ് ചോദിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, ഇത്രയും കാലം എവിടെയായിരുന്നു എന്ന്. അല്ല, ഞാനതുകൊണ്ട് തിരുമേനി ഇത്രയും കാലം എന്നെ വിളിച്ചില്ലല്ലോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പോൾ തിരിച്ചുള്ളൊരു, പക്ഷെ വളരെ സന്തോഷത്തോടുകൂടിയാണ് ഈ ചടങ്ങിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നത്. തിരുമേനിയുമായി വളരെ ആർദ്രമായ സ്നേഹബന്ധവും ഒരു സ്നേഹവാത്സല്യം അദ്ദേഹം എപ്പോഴും പകരാറുണ്ട്. തിരുമേനിയോട് എൻ്റെ സ്നേഹം, എൻ്റെ ആദരവ് അറിയിക്കട്ടെ. നമുക്കൊരുപാട്, so we have brothers and sisters from Russia. So we are so happy to listen to your speech. As in the welcome speech, Dr. Shireen Joseph mentioned, Russia is not just a country's name for us. It is a culture that increased the momentum of all our passion, all the walks of life in Kerala. So especially in the 70s, we started reading Russian literature, which was translated into Malayalam, our language. So, നിങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഓർക്കുന്നില്ലേ? എനിക്കറിയില്ല ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന എത്ര പേർക്ക് ഇത് ഓർക്കാനുണ്ടാകും എന്ന്. Crime and Punishment is not just a novel for us, it is a Bible of compassion for all the Keralites. Volga is not just a river for us, it is a liquid form of your culture that we learned. St. Petersburg is not just a place to visit for us, it symbolizes your culture, your tradition, and Red Square and Lenin still in our hearts. So I am very happy that the relationship between Russia and Kerala, not just India, it is coming to the another dimension, especially in the domain of health and wellness. So thank you so much. We are so happy, and I express my sincere gratitude, and I hope this relationship will be precipitated. It will be sustainable in all the endeavors of Parumala Hospital. I think you need a translator, right? You can translate later what I said, right? എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. വളരെ വളരെ ആഹ്ലാദകരമായ ഒരു ചടങ്ങാണ്. രണ്ട് ആഹ്ലാദമാണ്. അതിൽ ആദ്യത്തേത് നമ്മുടെ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ ഇത്തരമൊരു വേൾഡ് കിഡ്നി ഡേ ഇത്രയും പ്രഗത്ഭരായ ആളുകളുടെ സാന്നിധ്യത്തിൽ അതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ചർച്ച, ഒരു ഒത്തുചേരൽ നടക്കുന്നു എന്നതാണ്. രണ്ടാമത്തേതാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ റഷ്യയിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ഡോക്ടേഴ്സ്. അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞു. റഷ്യ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഏതൊരു മലയാളിയുടെയും ബാല്യകാലത്തിൻ്റെ മധുരമാണ്. ചുക്കുംകക്കും വായിക്കാതെ, മോറ എന്ന ആനക്കുട്ടിയുടെ കഥ വായിക്കാതെ, ഒരുപക്ഷെ വായിക്കുന്നതിനേക്കാൾ കൂടുതൽ സോവിയറ്റ് യൂണിയൻ വരുന്ന ഗ്ലോസി പേപ്പർ പുസ്തകം പൊതിയാതെ 75-ലും 80-ലുമുള്ള മലയാളി കുട്ടികൾ വളർന്നിട്ടില്ല എന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും ഓർക്കുന്ന ഒന്നാണ്. മോസ്കോ റേഡിയോ പോലും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു അന്ന് നമുക്ക് പാട്ട് കേൾക്കാൻ, നമ്മളോട് സംസാരിക്കാൻ. അത്തരമൊരു മധുര മനോഹരമായ ഭൂതകാലം നമ്മുടെ ഉള്ളിലുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ അതിലേക്ക് ദീർഘമായി പോകുന്നില്ല. പരുമല ഹോസ്പിറ്റൽ തിരുവിതാംകൂറിലെ ജനങ്ങളെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് തിരുമേനി ഒരു ദേവാലയം പോലെ ജനങ്ങൾ ആശ്രയിക്കുന്ന സ്ഥലമാണ്. ഞാൻ ആ വാക്ക് ഉപയോഗിക്കുകയാണ്. ഒരുപാട് മനുഷ്യർ ദേവാലയം പോലെ കരുതുന്ന ഒരു സ്ഥലമാണ്. ഒരാശുപത്രിയിലേക്ക് വരുമ്പോൾ ആശുപത്രിയിൽ നിന്ന് ഏറ്റവും അധികം പരിഗണന, ഏറ്റവും അധികം പരിരക്ഷ, ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെയും മരണത്തിൻ്റെയും ഇടയിൽ തുടർന്ന് ജീവിക്കാനുള്ള സുരക്ഷ, ഇതെല്ലാം ലഭിക്കും എന്ന കരുതിയാണ് ആളുകൾ വരുന്നത്. പരുമല ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിന്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രത്യേകതയായി ഞാൻ കാണുന്നത് നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു കേരളത്തിന്റെ ആരോഗ്യരംഗത്തിന്റെ നേട്ടങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് നാം പലപ്പോഴും അഭിമാനത്തോടെ പറയാറുണ്ട്. സ്കാൻഡിനേവിയൻ രാജ്യങ്ങളെ പോലും അതിശയിപ്പിക്കുന്ന നേട്ടം ആരോഗ്യരംഗത്തുണ്ടാക്കിയ നാടാണ് നമ്മുടെ കേരളം. അതിൽ പൊതുജനാരോഗ്യ രംഗത്തെ നേട്ടങ്ങൾ മാത്രമല്ല, പരുമല ആശുപത്രിയെ പോലെയുള്ള നമ്മുടെ സഭയുടെ നേതൃത്വത്തിലുള്ള ആശുപത്രികൾ നൽകിയ മഹനീയമായ സംഭാവനകളും കേരളത്തിന്റെ ആരോഗ്യരംഗത്തെ അഭിമാനകരമായ പ്രശോഭിതമായ നേട്ടങ്ങളുടെ പിന്നിലുണ്ട് എന്നത് ഏതു മലയാളിയും വളരെ ആഹ്ലാദത്തോടെ ഓർക്കുന്ന ഒന്നാണ്. നമ്മുടെ ആശുപത്രി അതിൻ്റെ വളർച്ചയിൽ പുതിയ ഉയരങ്ങൾ താണ്ടുന്നു എന്നതാണ് ഏറ്റവും സന്തോഷകരം. വേൾഡ് കിഡ്നി ഡേ യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ മാർച്ച് 11 എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ ധരിച്ചിരുന്നത്. 14 തന്നെയാണല്ലേ, അങ്ങനെയാണ്. അപ്പോ ലോകത്തിൽ നിന്ന് ഇത്തരമൊരു രോഗം പ്രത്യേകിച്ചും കേരളത്തെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് നമ്മൾ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ, ഇവിടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട നമ്മുടെ 2 നെഫ്രോളജിസ്റ്റ്, ഒരാൾ വടശ്ശേരിക്കലിൽ റാന്നിയിലെ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിലും അദ്ദേഹം വരുന്നുണ്ട്. MLA ഓഫീസിലേക്ക് വരുന്ന 100 കണക്കിന് ആളുകളിൽ വൃക്കരോഗബാധിതരായ ആളുകളുടെ എണ്ണം ആശങ്കാജനകമായി വർദ്ധിക്കുന്നു എന്നതാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ തന്നെ അനുഭവം. ഡയാലിസിസിനായി സൗകര്യം വേണമെന്ന് പറയുന്നവർ, വൃക്ക മാറ്റിവെക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള ഭാരിച്ച ചെലവിനായി പിന്തുണ വേണം എന്ന് ആവശ്യപ്പെടുന്ന കുടുംബാംഗങ്ങൾ, വൃക്കരോഗബാധിതരായി ചികിത്സയ്ക്ക് പണമില്ലാത്തതിനാൽ സഹായം വേണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ചികിത്സാ സഹായം തേടി വരുന്ന മനുഷ്യർ, അതിന് നഗരഗ്രാമ വ്യത്യാസമില്ലാതെ, ജെൻഡർ വ്യത്യാസമില്ലാതെ, ഒരുപക്ഷെ ലോകത്ത് ഇന്ന് ക്യാൻസർ കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ ആളുകളുടെ ജീവൻ അപഹരിക്കുന്ന ഒന്നായി വൃക്കരോഗങ്ങൾ മാറുന്നുണ്ട് എന്നത് എന്നെക്കാൾ നന്നായി അറിയാവുന്നവരാണ് നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവരും. ഞാൻ പലപ്പോഴും ആലോചിക്കാറുണ്ട്, ഒരു സംഗീത കച്ചേരിയിൽ പലപ്പോഴും തമ്പുരുവിൽ നിന്നാണ് ശ്രുതി ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ ശരീരത്തിൻ്റെ ജൈവ ഘടികാര പ്രവർത്തനത്തിൽ എല്ലാ അവയവങ്ങളെയും പ്രവർത്തനത്തെ നിയന്ത്രിക്കുന്ന കിഡ്നിയുടെ നിശബ്ദമായ പ്രവർത്തനം തമ്പുരുവിൻ്റെ ശ്രുതി പോലെയാണ്. ശ്രുതിയൊന്ന് പിഴച്ചാൽ കച്ചേരി പിഴച്ചു, എല്ലാ വാദ്യമേളങ്ങളുടെയും സ്വരം അപസ്വരമാകും. വൃക്കയുടെ പ്രവർത്തനത്തിൽ ഭംഗമുണ്ടായാൽ എല്ലാ അവയവങ്ങളും തകരാറിലാകുമെങ്കിലും നാം അത് പലപ്പോഴും തിരിച്ചറിയാറില്ല. വർദ്ധിച്ചു വരുന്ന പ്രമേഹം, രക്തസമ്മർദ്ദം, വ്യായാമക്കുറവ്, ഭക്ഷണ രീതിയിലുണ്ടായ മാറ്റം, ജീവിതത്തിൻ്റെ ശൈലിയുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട നമുക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന സ്ട്രെസ്, ടെൻഷൻ, ഇത്തരം ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ കേരളത്തെ വൃക്കരോഗബാധിതരുടെ സ്ഥലമായി മാറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ എന്ന ആശങ്ക നമ്മുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും മനസ്സിലുണ്ട്. അത്തരമൊരു സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ കൂടുതൽ മെച്ചപ്പെട്ട ചികിത്സയും കൂടുതൽ ഫലപ്രദമായ അവബോധവും സൃഷ്ടിക്കാൻ നമുക്കെല്ലാവർക്കും ചുമതലയുണ്ട്. അതെല്ലാവരുടെയും ഒരു ദൗത്യമായി മാറേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. അതിലേക്കുള്ള ശ്രദ്ധേയമായ ഒരു ചുവടുവയ്പ്പാണ് നമ്മുടെ ആശുപത്രിയുടെ നേതൃത്വത്തിൽ ഇന്ന് നടത്തുന്ന ഈ ആചരണം എന്ന് ഞാൻ കരുതുന്നു. തീർച്ചയായും ആ ഒത്തുചേരലിനും തുടർന്ന് അതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന എല്ലാ ഉദ്യമങ്ങൾക്കും എല്ലാ ആശംസകളും നേർന്നുകൊണ്ട് ആദ്യമായുള്ള ഏത് കാര്യവും മധുരമുള്ള ഓർമ്മയാണ്. ലവോസിന്റെ പ്രശസ്തമായൊരു പഴമൊഴിയുണ്ട്, എല്ലാ ആദ്യയാത്രകളും ആരംഭിക്കുന്നത് ഏറ്റവും ഭദ്രമായ ആദ്യത്തെ കാൽവെപ്പിൽ നിന്നാണ്. പരുമല ആശുപത്രിയിലെ MLA നിലയിലുള്ള ആദ്യത്തെ ഈ ചടങ്ങ് തുടർച്ചയായ ആഴമുള്ള അഗാധമായ ഒരു ബന്ധത്തിന്റെ കൂടി അർത്ഥഭരിതമായ തുടക്കമാകട്ടെ എന്ന് മാത്രം പറഞ്ഞ് ഒരു നല്ല സായാഹ്നം എല്ലാവർക്കും നേർന്ന ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ഉദ്ഘാടന പ്രസംഗത്തിന് അടിവര ചാർത്തുന്നു. സ്നേഹഭാവുകങ്ങൾ.
താങ്ക് യു സർ. ശ്രീ പ്രമോദ് നാരായണിന് പൊന്നാടിയും മൊമെന്റവും നൽകി ആദരിക്കുന്നതിനായി അഭിവന്യ ഡോക്ടർ യുഹാനോൻ മാർ ക്രിസോസ്റ്റമോസ് തിരുമേനിയെ സാദരം ക്ഷണിച്ചുകൊള്ളുന്നു.
Thank you, Tirmeni. Moving on, let me welcome Dr. Harish KG, HOD and Senior Consultant Nephrologist, Parmala Hospital, for theme presentation and Nephrology Department projection.
His Grace Chrysostomos Tirmeni, respected member of Legislative Assembly, Sri Pramod Narayanan, today's distinguished guest from Russia, doctors from Urology and Nephrology Department, other doctors, Medical Superintendent Sharon Madam, Reverend Father Paul Ramban, all staff, other staff members. Today we are celebrating the World Kidney Day. World Kidney Day is celebrated on the second Thursday of March every year. So this year it is on 14th March, and the important theme of observing this World Kidney Day is making awareness about the kidney disease among common people. It is not only for common people to make awareness about kidney disease among health staff, the common layman, and all the staffs, all the doctors should be aware of what we can do to prevent the kidney diseases. Because most of the time, the ignorance or the lack of awareness from the doctor's side also can leads to progression of kidney diseases. Because early detection of the renal disease is very important, and awareness of this kidney disease and its risk factors is very important among health professionals also. So, based on this year the important theme for World Kidney Day is advancing the equitable access to healthcare and optimal medication practice. This is the theme of this World Kidney Day. That is access to kidney care. That is actually in Kerala, the access to healthcare is not a big issue, because there are a lot of hospitals, more than 200 nephrologists in Kerala, and almost all the hospitals have a full-time nephrologist. So access to medical care is not a big issue in Kerala. But optimal medication process, that is lacking here. The optimal medication practice is actually not there. I think it is not there in Kerala, not in Kerala, everywhere. It's optimal medication practice is not there. Because early detection will reduce the pill burden. Early detection of disease like the risk factors like diabetes, hypertension, all these will prevent the progression of kidney disease to end-stage renal disease, and this can reduce the pill burden of the patient and the cost of treatment, and it will prevent the progress to renal transplantation or dialysis. So, in this aspect, our Parmala Hospital Nephrology Department is doing a lot of screening processes for kidney diseases. We are conducting various screening programs to prevent the development of kidney disease. By all these are the screening methods used by our hospital. This is for high-risk patients. We are doing RFT regularly, urine protein, ultrasound examination, and we will detect the kidney disease very early, and we can prevent the progression to an end-stage renal disease. Here, we have a very good outpatient facility starting from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and regularly we are following around 60 outpatients, and we have a separate pediatric OPD also on Saturdays 2 to 5 p.m. and we have transplant OPDs from on Monday, Thursday and Saturdays. And we have a very good dialysis unit, 24-hour dialysis unit, and there are dedicated dialysis machines for retrovirus positive patients and HBsAg positive and HCV patients. And we have more than 150 maintenance hemodialysis patients here. And per month we are doing more than 1,600 dialysis, and we have around more than 20 well-trained staff giving care to our patients. And we have a continuous renal replacement therapy facility also. And for the last 3 years, we have done more than 70 CRRT for various conditions like sepsis and even for post-operative cardiac patients. On all these patients, we have done more than 70 CRRT for the last 3 years. And we are also doing other procedures like plasmapheresis for various neurological conditions, and we have done 2 plasmapheresis in last month, one for a post-transplant patient and one for a neurology patient. And we are also doing hemoperfusion for patients with poisoning. And we are creating vascular access for dialysis and with the help of our cardiothoracic team. And we have done more than 100 AV fistulas in the last 2 years, and with a success rate of more than 95%. We are also putting perm cath for permanent dialysis access catheter, more than 100 perm cath in the last 4 years, and with a minimum infection rate. And for CKD patients or stage 5 patients, apart from hemodialysis, we are doing a continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis also. And patients with no vascular access, or for patients, pediatric patients, we are doing CAPD. We have more than 10 patients on CAPD, and all the patients are doing very well. And regarding the other interventions, we are doing renal biopsies and 150 renal biopsies, more than 150 renal biopsies for the last 4 years. We are doing a USG-guided renal biopsy, and there was not major complication reported till now. And the most importantly, we have started renal transplantation 1.5 years back, and we are doing only live-related renal transplantation. We have completed 6 transplants till now. Yesterday was the last case, and the patient is doing very well. And all the donors and all the recipients are healthy and normal with the normal renal function. And we are planning for, now we are doing only live-related transplant, and in the coming years we are planning for a disease donor renal transplant and ABO incompatible renal transplantation also. And we are doing some research facilities, research activities also. In collaboration with tertiary level hospitals and teaching institute, we are planning some research activities also. And we have made a CKD registry and renal biopsy registry in collaboration with the Central Travancore Nephrology Club. And we are conducting various CMEs in our hospitals. Nephro-oncology CME is coming, is planned on the next month. And we are also planning for a transplant update CME next month. These are the important activities in nephrology department. So in this World Kidney Day, we will definitely encourage our patients to follow up for high risk patients for follow up with urine analysis and RFT to prevent the progression of renal disease to end-stage renal disease. The awareness to doctors as well as the patients is very important to prevent the complications of end-stage renal disease. Thank you. Thank you very much.
ഹരീഷ് സാറിനോടുള്ള പ്രത്യേക നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. ഈ മീറ്റിങ്ങിൻ്റെ അധ്യക്ഷത വഹിക്കുന്ന അഭിനന്ദൻ തിരുമേനിക്ക് 4:30 ഒരു മീറ്റിങ്ങിൽ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യണം. അതുകൊണ്ട് തിരുമേനി പോകാനുള്ള അനുവാദം എഴുതി തന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. തിരുമേനിക്ക് അനുവാദമൊന്നും കൊടുക്കേണ്ട ആളല്ല, എങ്കിൽ പോലും സന്തോഷവും നന്ദിയും പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് അറിയിക്കുന്നു. ഈ സ്ഥാപനത്തിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ കാര്യത്തിലും ലീഡർഷിപ്പ് നൽകുന്ന അഭിനന്ദൻ തിരുമേനിയുള്ള സ്നേഹാദരം അറിയിക്കുകയാണ്. 2 കാര്യം കൂടെ ചെയ്തിട്ട് തിരുമേനി പോകാനുള്ള അനുവാദം ഉണ്ടാകണമെന്ന് റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഒന്ന്, നമ്മുടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട ഡെലിഗേറ്റ്സ് ഗസ്റ്റായിട്ട് വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന റഷ്യൻ ചർച്ചിൻ്റെ മെമ്പേഴ്സിന് ഈ ആശുപത്രിയുടെ ഒരു ഉപകാരം അഭിനന്ദൻ തിരുമനസ്സുകൊണ്ട് കൈമാറുന്നത് വളരെ ഉചിതമായിരിക്കുന്നു പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് കരുതുന്നു. അതിന് അഭിനന്ദൻ തിരുമേനെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ഹിസ് ഗ്രേസ് ഡോക്ടർ യോഹന്നാൻ മാർ ക്രിസോസ്റ്റമോസ്, അവർ beloved dearest metropolitan, to hand over our mementos to the Russian delegates. May I request you to accept this from the അവരുടെ നാട്ടിൽ കിട്ടും. അഭിമന്യ തിരുമേനിയും പ്രസംഗിച്ചപ്പോഴും ഡോക്ടർ ഹരീഷ് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോഴും പുനർജനനി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു സ്കീമിനെ പറ്റി പറയുകയുണ്ടായി. പുനർജനനി എന്ന് പറയുന്നൊരു വീണ്ടും ജനനമാണ്. കിഡ്നി ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി കഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്ന മനുഷ്യർക്ക് ഇവിടെ എല്ലാം പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട MLA അത് പറയുകയുണ്ടായി. 9 ലക്ഷം രൂപയാണ് കിഡ്നി ഉള്ളവർക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കിഡ്നി ഡോണേഴ്സിന് കിട്ടുന്നവർക്ക് ട്രീറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് കോസ്റ്റ് വരുന്നത്. അതിൽ 4 ലക്ഷം രൂപയ്ക്കാണ് പെരുമേലി ആശുപത്രി ചെയ്തു കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. ബാക്കി തുക സഭയുടെ സഹോദരൻ പ്രൊജക്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ചാരിറ്റി പ്രൊജക്റ്റിൽ നിന്ന് ലഭിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ വർഷം നടന്ന എല്ലാ പ്രൊജക്റ്റുകളും അങ്ങനെയാണ് കിഡ്നി ട്രാൻസ്പ്ലാന്റേഷൻ നടത്തുന്നത്. സാധാരണക്കാർക്ക് ബെനിഫിറ്റ് ആകുന്ന ഒരു സ്കീമാണ്. അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഇനാഗുറേഷൻ ആവുന്ന തീരുമാനിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട MLA കൊടുത്ത് റിലീസ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. ഈ വേൾഡ് കിഡ്നി ഡേയിൽ നമ്മുടെ ആശുപത്രിയിലെ ഡയാലിസിസ് ഇതിന് വരുന്ന രോഗികളെ സഹായിക്കാൻ തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നു. 50 പേർക്കുള്ള കിഡ്നി ഡയാലിസിസ് കിറ്റ് ഇപ്പോൾ ഹാൻഡ് ഓവർ ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. അത് പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട MLA നമ്മുടെ ഡയാലിസിസ് യൂണിറ്റിൻ്റെ നേഴ്സിന് ഹാൻഡ് ഓവർ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ഘാടനം ചെയ്യുന്നു. പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട സിസ്റ്ററിനെ അതിനുവേണ്ടി സ്റ്റേജിലേക്ക് ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. അഭിമന്യ തിരുമേനിയോടും പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട MLA ശ്രീ പ്രമോദ് നാരായൺ സാറിനോടുള്ള ആദരവ് സ്നേഹം പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് അറിയിക്കുന്നു. റഷ്യൻ ഡെലിഗേറ്റ്സ് അഭിമന്യ തിരുമനസിന് ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ഉപകാരം കൈമാറാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നു. അതിനുള്ള അവസരമാണ്.
Good to keep it here.
Thank you, Tirumeni. Next, I welcome Dr. Mayank Bharti, HOD and Senior Consultant Urologist and Transplant Surgeon, Parmala Hospital for Urology Department Projection.
Respected dignitaries on the dais and dear friends, a very warm good evening to all of you. I would use this opportunity to spread few words about kidney transplant, as I always do. So I have made a small presentation keeping a common man in mind, that what goes through their mind, what are the questions which comes to their mind. So I just wanted to spread the knowledge and a bit of, about transplant in the general public. So this presentation is for the common man. Now I would be covering under the following headings. Now if I have to give an introduction about transplant, it is the standard of care which should be offered to all end-stage renal disease patients. Now it is the most preferred form of renal therapy which should be offered. Now here in our hospital, in St. Gregorius Medical Mission Hospital, we have the capacity, and in fact we have already built a very strong transplant program. Over the last 1 year we have done 6 successful transplants. All patients are doing well, and our setup can be matched to any other tertiary care hospital in this region. Now, there were few challenges initially when we started the program, like licensing procedures. You need to get a license from the government authorities. which eventually we could obtain after 8 months. You need to have trained manpower. Now we have trained manpower with us. We have acquired the necessary equipments required for the transplant. We have a separate transplant ICU. So these are the challenges on our part. At the same time, there are certain challenges on the patient part as well, like whether the patient can afford the transplant. Then here comes the role of church and the hospital, where the care is being provided through the hospital at a suitable rates. Now, second thing is that the patient has to find a suitable donor, which lies in the legal perimeter. It has to be a related donor, and it has to be a fit donor. It should match with the recipient. Then there are certain risk of post-operative complications which we need to discuss with the patient beforehand, and they have to comply with the immunosuppressive therapy as well, that they have to take a lifelong immunosuppression therapy. Then there are certain doubts in their mind, in the patient's mind: who needs the kidney transplant, why kidney transplant, who can donate. So there are certain questions which they frequently ask us. So now, who needs transplant? See, anyone who's diagnosed with the renal failure. Now there are certain stages of renal failure. If you see here in the slide, stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 stages. So once the patient reaches in the 5th stage, that is the CKD5, that is the end stage, that means the kidney has gone down so badly that it cannot function anymore, we have to think about transplant. So CKD patient 5 should be offered transplant. Now, why transplant? What are the advantages over other form of renal therapies? One, it improves your quality of life. It gives you freedom to plan vacation. It gives you freedom to move around. You need not come to the hospital on every alternate days for hemodialysis. So it gives you a good improved quality of life. Second thing is, it offers you long-term survival. The survival, the patients, those who are on hemodialysis, if you compare them with the patients, those who have undergone transplant, they have a better survival. Now, with transplant, you can have a dietary freedom. You can, enjoy more things in life. You can eat whatever you want, and it reduces the treatment burden also financially. Then it manages in a better way of your secondary health issues. And then, obviously, if you consider finance, it will give you a better edge. Now, these are the statistics. These are the data which shows the 10-year survival rates. Now, here you can see that the yellow part shows about 70% of the transplant patients, they survive by 10 years. Whereas if you compare it with other modality, like in color red, as you can see, only 28% of the patient will survive by the end of 10 years. So it has got a definite edge over other forms of therapy. Now, these are the most common renal replacement therapies which are available to us. One is the hemodialysis, second is the peritoneal dialysis, and then it is the kidney transplant. If I talk about the cost of renal replacement therapies, now cost of a hemodialysis in a year would be around 4 to 5 lakhs, whereas the peritoneal dialysis would come to around 3 to 4 lakhs, and in case of transplant, initially you might have to shell out, you might have to give more money, like around 7 to 8 lakhs initially at the time of surgery, but then it reduces to only 10 to 15,000 per month, which comes to around 1.2 to 1.5 lakhs in a year, which is far cheaper than hemodialysis and other therapies. Now, who can donate? Any near relative, spouse, children, grandchildren, siblings, parents, grandparents, or anyone who is a good match can donate. So for that, we need a hospital committee who has to give permission and authorization for the transplant. Even non-related donors can also, they can give, but then the method of obtaining clearance by the committee will be different, which is much tedious. Now, how do we evaluate donor and recipient? So first thing what we see in a donor and recipient is the blood group. So if the recipient blood group is O, so donor has to be only O. If recipient blood group is A, then both O and A can donate. Likewise B, then both O and B can donate, and if the blood group of recipient is AB, anyone can donate to him. Then there are other tests also, like blood tests. We do have to do the imaging also, CT angiogram, DTP arenogram. So likewise, we have to get the other departmental clearances also, and HLA typing and cross match is the final test which should be matched properly. So once we have done and evaluated and the patient found to be fit, next thing is surgery part. Now this is the picture which you can see here on the screen, is the donor nephrectomy. Here we do nephrectomy laparoscopically. We put laparoscopic ports and take the kidney through a small incision in the abdomen. So once the kidney is out from the body, we take it to the bench. We do some work on the bench also, where we remove the fat, we defat the we remove the fat, we then do things on the vessels also, we refresh the edges also. So after the bench work, we take it to the recipient body and then we anastomose vessels. Like there is an artery and then there is a vein and then there is a ureter. So there are 3 anastomoses involved in the entire surgery. So this is the place where we implant in the recipient body. It is mostly on the right side, lower abdomen, we implant the kidney. Now this picture is just to, to compare the scar between the laparoscopic nephrectomy scar and the open scar. As you can see, in open scar, it's a large scar, but whereas in laparoscopy, minimal scarring is there. So that is the thing. Then the scope of further growth, what we are looking for is that we should be able to do ABO incompatible. That means that 2 patients, those who are not having a blood group match, even in those patients also we should be able to do kidney transplant. Next thing would be a swap renal transplant, where the 2 groups, recipient donor from one side and recipient and donor on the other side, if they match each other, then we can take a donor from one group and can give the kidney to the other group, and this, likewise the other kidney can be taken from the other group and can be given to the other pair. Then cadaveric renal transplant and then robotic renal transplant as well in the coming future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. We consider to take this moment to honor the doctors of Parmala Hospital with a shawl. For this, I welcome Father Ashwin Fernandez, Secretary, Interchurch Relationship, to do the honors. Firstly, I welcome Dr. Harish KJ on stage. Next, I welcome Dr. Mayank Bharti. Next, I welcome Dr. Jitesh P. Next, I welcome Dr. Abhilash V. Cheryan. Thank you, Father.
അടുത്തതായി വൃക്കദിന സന്ദേശം നൽകുന്നതിന് പരിമല ആശുപത്രിയിലെ കൺസൾട്ടന്റ് യൂറോളജിസ്റ്റ് ഡോക്ടർ ജിതേഷ് പി എ ക്ഷണിച്ചുകൊള്ളുന്നു.
ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തികൾക്ക് എൻ്റെ നമസ്കാരം. എ വെരി ഗുഡ് ആഫ്റ്റർനൂൺ ടു ഓൾ. കിഡ്നി ഡേയുടെ മെസ്സേജ് കൊടുക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് എൻ്റെ ദൗത്യം. കിഡ്നി ഡേ സെലിബ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് 2ാമത്തെ വ്യാഴാഴ്ചയാണ്, മാർച്ച് മാസത്തിലെ 2ാമത്തെ വ്യാഴാഴ്ച. സോ കിഡ്നി പ്രൊട്ടക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്യണം എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ കിഡ്നി നമ്മൾ എന്തൊക്കെ കാരണങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ട് ബാധിക്കപ്പെടാം എന്നുള്ളൊരു ബോധം എല്ലാവരിലും ഉണ്ടാക്കണം. അതായത് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ കഴിക്കുന്ന മരുന്നുകളാണെങ്കിലും ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും കോമോബിഡിറ്റീസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അതായത് എന്തെങ്കിലും അസുഖമുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് കൃത്യമായിട്ട് ചികിത്സിക്കണം. അതിൽ നമ്പർ 1 ആയിട്ട് നിൽക്കുന്ന ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകളാണ് മെയിനായിട്ടും BP, പ്രഷർ, ബ്ലഡ് പ്രഷർ കൂടുക, ഹൈപ്പർ ടെൻഷൻ. ഇത് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്ത് നിർത്തുക, കൃത്യമായിട്ട് മരുന്ന് കഴിക്കുക. ഷുഗർ, അതായത് ഡയബറ്റീസും ഒരു പ്രശ്നമാണ്, നമ്മുടെ കിഡ്നിയെ ബാധിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പ്രശ്നമാണ്. സോ ഡയബറ്റീസ് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്ത് നിർത്തുക. ഇപ്പോൾ ഓവർ ദ കൗണ്ടറായിട്ട് മരുന്ന് കഴിക്കാതിരിക്കുക, അനാൽജസിക്സ്. ഇപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നതാണ്, ഒരു ചെറിയ വേദന വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെയും ഡോക്ടേഴ്സിൻ്റെ വേറെ ഒരു കൺസൾട്ടേഷനും കൂടാതെ തന്നെ മരുന്ന് കഴിച്ചു തുടങ്ങുക. ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഓവർ ദ കൗണ്ടർ മരുന്നുകൾ, അതായത് അനാൽജസിക്സ് എടുക്കാതിരിക്കുക. പിന്നെ മോസ്റ്റ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ്ലി നമുക്ക് ചെറിയ ചെറിയ വേദനകൾ, അതായത് റൈറ്റ് സൈഡ് ഫ്ലാങ്ക് പെയിൻസ്, അങ്ങനെ ചെറിയ വേദനകൾ, മൂത്രത്തിൽ ചെറിയ ചെറിയ ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻസിൻ്റെ വേദനകൾ, ചെറിയ ചെറിയ രക്തം പോവുക, അങ്ങനത്തെ ചെറിയ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് ഡോക്ടേഴ്സിനെ കാണിക്കുക, അതിനനുസരിച്ച് ചികിത്സിക്കുക. അപ്പോൾ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കുന്ന അസുഖങ്ങൾ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്ത് മുന്നോട്ട് പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു പരിധി വരെ നമുക്ക് കിഡ്നിയുടെ ബാധിക്കുന്നത് തടഞ്ഞു നിർത്താനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. പ്രത്യേകിച്ചും കിഡ്നി സ്റ്റോൺസ് അത് ഫോം ചെയ്യുന്നതിൻ്റെ രീതി, ഇതൊക്കെ നമ്മുടെ ജീവിതശൈലികളുടെ പ്രശ്നം കൊണ്ടും നമ്മൾ കഴിക്കുന്ന ആഹാരത്തിലും എല്ലാത്തിലും അതിൻ്റെതായിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ അടങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഒരു ചെറിയ സ്റ്റഡീസ് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ സൗത്ത് ഇന്ത്യൻ പോപ്പുലേഷൻ, സൗത്ത് ഇന്ത്യയിലുള്ള ആൾക്കാരിൽ നോർമൽ എടുക്കുന്ന ഉപ്പിൻ്റെ കണ്ടന്റ്, അതായത് സോൾട്ട് കണ്ടന്റ്, നമ്മുടെ ആഹാരത്തിൽ അടങ്ങിയിരിക്കുന്ന സോൾട്ട് കണ്ടന്റ് പറയുന്നത് 20 ഗ്രാമിൽ കൂടുതലാണ് നമ്മുടെ നോർമൽ ഭക്ഷണത്തിൽ. സോ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഡാഷ് ഡയറ്റ്, അതായത് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഹൈപ്പർ ടെൻഷനും ബാക്കിയുള്ള അസുഖങ്ങളുമൊക്കെ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു ഡയറ്റിൽ ഉപ്പിൻ്റെ അളവ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് 5 ഗ്രാമിൽ താഴെ ആയിരിക്കണം. സോ നമ്മുടെ ഭക്ഷണത്തിലും ബാക്കി നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന വ്യായാമത്തിലും എല്ലാം നല്ലതായിട്ട് ശ്രദ്ധ കേന്ദ്രീകരിച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് കിഡ്നിയുടെ അസുഖങ്ങൾ ബാധിക്കുന്നതിൽ നിന്നും തടഞ്ഞു നിർത്താൻ സാധിക്കും. അതിനേക്കാളും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് വെള്ളം കുടിക്കുക. ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ നമുക്കറിയാം, ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ നമ്മുടെ കാലാവസ്ഥ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നല്ല രീതിയിൽ ചൂട് അനുഭവപ്പെടുന്ന ഒരു സമയമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ സമയങ്ങളിൽ നമുക്കൊരു 3 to 5 ലിറ്റർ, അതായത് 3 to 4 ലിറ്റർ യൂറിൻ വരത്തക്ക രീതിയിൽ വെള്ളം കുടിക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് മെയിനായിട്ടും നമുക്ക് കിഡ്നിയുടെ ആരോഗ്യത്തിനായിട്ട് നല്ലത്. സോ നമ്മൾ ജീവിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത്, നമ്മൾ നോക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ ഡോക്ടേഴ്സിനെ കാണാനായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഉള്ള അസുഖങ്ങൾ കൃത്യമായിട്ട് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുക, ഡയബറ്റീസ് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുക, ഹൈപ്പർ ടെൻഷൻ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുക, അനാൽജസിക് അനാവശ്യമായിട്ട് ഉപയോഗിക്കാതിരിക്കുക. ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചെയ്ത് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ഓൾറെഡി നമ്മുടെ നല്ലൊരു കിഡ്നി ഹെൽത്തിലേക്ക് വരും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. സോ അത് മാത്രവുമല്ല, നമുക്ക് നല്ല രീതിയിൽ വെള്ളം കുടിക്കുന്നതും ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരു രീതിയാണ്. സോ ഇപ്പോൾ ആണെങ്കിൽ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് വെള്ളം കുടിച്ച് തുടങ്ങുക എന്നുള്ളത് എല്ലാവർക്കും പറ്റുന്നൊരു കാര്യമല്ല. എല്ലാവരും തിരക്കിട്ട് അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും ഓടിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമുക്കൊരു ചെറിയ രീതിയിൽ വെള്ളം കുടിക്കാനും ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടായിരിക്കാം. സോ അപ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിലും നമ്മളൊരു തുടക്കം എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ വെള്ളം കുടിച്ച് മുന്നോട്ട് പോവുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ കിഡ്നിയെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ നോക്കുന്നതിന്. അതുമാത്രമല്ല, ചെറിയ ചെറിയ ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻസ്, യൂറിനറി ട്രാക്ട് ഇൻഫെക്ഷൻസ് വരുന്നതും ട്രീറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളത് മോസ്റ്റ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ് നമ്മുടെ കിഡ്നിയെ സംരക്ഷിക്കുന്നതിൽ. സോ ഈ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ശ്രദ്ധിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ കിഡ്നിയെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും, ഒരു നല്ല ഹെൽത്തി ലൈഫിന് സാധിക്കും. സോ ഇപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരുടെയും കയ്യിൽ വെള്ളം ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് കരുതുന്നു. കുടിക്കാനായിട്ട് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരു കുപ്പി വെള്ളം കിട്ടിക്കാണും ഇപ്പോൾ. സോ നമുക്ക് എഴുന്നേറ്റ് നിൽക്കാം. എഴുന്നേറ്റ് നിന്ന് ഒരു കുറച്ച് നേരം എങ്കിലും ഒരു 2-3 കവിളെങ്കിലും വെള്ളം കുടിച്ചാൽ നല്ലതായിരിക്കും. സോ എല്ലാവരും ഒന്ന് എഴുന്നേറ്റ് നിന്ന് ഇതൊരു തുടക്കമാവട്ടെ, നമുക്കിവിടെ നിന്ന് ആരംഭിക്കാം. സോ എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ വൃത്തിയായി നോക്കുക. ഷുഗർ, പ്രഷർ ഇതൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുക. ഡോക്ടേഴ്സിന് അനുവാദമില്ലാതെ അനാവശ്യമായി മരുന്ന് കഴിക്കാതിരിക്കുക. ആൻഡ് വി ഓൾ ആർ ഹിയർ ടു ഹെൽപ്പ് യു. സോ എന്തെങ്കിലും ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പരുമല ആശ്രയിക്കാം. ഇവിടെ എല്ലാവരും നിങ്ങളുടെ സഹായത്തിനായിട്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്.
Thank you, Dr. Jitesh. For vote of thanks, I welcome Dr. Abhilash V. Cherian, Consultant Nephrologist, Paramala Hospital, on stage.
Good evening. Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen.
As we come to the conclusion of today's program, it's my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I would like to thank His Grace Dr. Johannan Mark Chrysostomus. He had to leave early, but still, I would like to thank him on behalf of the entire Parmila family for gracing this occasion with his blessing and kind words. Next, on behalf of the entire Parmila family, I would like to thank our chief guest, Chief Guest Sri Pramod Narayan, Honorable MLA, for making time out of his busy schedule so that he would come and attend this program and share his valuable insights. Sir, we once again express our profound gratitude and sincere thanks for your valuable presence and kind words. Next, I'm honored to thank the international dignitaries from Russia, the doctors from ANO-CSCH of St. Alexis Metropolitan of Moscow, who have been staying with us for the last 2 days, sharing their insights and knowledge, and who have been kind enough to willfully accept our request in celebrating this day. I would like to thank Reverend Father K.V. Paul Rampan, Parmala Seminary Manager. I would also like to thank our Finance Manager, Reverend Father Johnson Court Episcopa, for gracing this occasion. Next, I would like to thank our beloved CEO, Father M.C. Paulos, the pillar of Parmala Hospital. Father has been the central force in all our activities and has never been shy of offering any support. I would also like to thank Reverend Father Ashwin, Father Gio Joseph, Father Thomas Verghese, whose efforts have made this meeting a grand success. Next, I would like to thank our young and dynamic doctors, Dr. Harish, Dr. Mayank, Dr. Jitesh, who are the driving forces of the nephrology department here, and under whose guidance we have become the leading and largest nephro-uro centers in Central Travancore. I would also like to offer my sincere thanks and gratitude to our medical superintendent, Dr. Sharon, who is a vital cog of our system and is instrumental in the success of our hospital. I would also like to thank the members of the Hospital Management Committee for their support and valuable advices. Lastly, I would like to thank all the organizing committee members, the junior residents, dialysis staff, technicians, OPD sisters, OPD staff, and the other patients who have been offering tremendous support over the past few years and who have been instrumental in our growth and success. Thank you.
വൃക്കകൾക്ക് കരുതലേകാം എന്ന സന്ദേശത്തോടെ we are signing off. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Used for further purchases. The money came to people who didn't know who the money was, who the real name of the purchaser. They just knew this was a cleared account, so it came into a bond payment account. And from the bond payment account, it was given. And it was done precisely to prevent this kind of gossip coming out saying so-and-so has purchased so much. Number para 7, if you see the SOP, because this is not something we've done now, this is the original SOP, said no details.
Ultimately, even your FAQs, which were shown to us during the course of the hearing,
yes,
the FAQs indicate that for every purchase, you have to have a separate KYC.
Yes, we have that. We have that.
Therefore, it's very clear that every time somebody made a purchase, a KYC was mandated. Like one set of documents, namely the electoral bond application form, KYC documents, citizenship documents, and pay-in slips.
Manoj, there's no issue. We have the details.
Please
don't misunderstand me.
Therefore, you have the details.
No, I have the details. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it's not there.
One minute, Mr. Salve. Now, paragraph 10, you specifically say that all the purchasers' details have been kept in a sealed cover.
Yes.
In the main branch of the applicant pack.
Correct,
You just have to simply open up the sealed cover and collate the names and give the details.
Malad,
As far
what
as
is
paragraph 11 is concerned, then also you're saying that the Dhoni's details are being kept in a sealed cover, envelope in a sealed cover. Open up the sealed cover and give the details. In fact,
tell Malad where the only bit of information?
if I'm not mistaken, the EC was asked to file an affidavit which you, in a sealed affidavit or details in a sealed envelope, which we have not opened. With regard to the donor details and other details during the course of hearing, which they may have filed.
Manoj, my problem is this, Manoj.
I wanted to send bulk messages on WhatsApp like these brands, but I got banned by WhatsApp for spamming. I was so worried, and then by chance I came across this workshop by Naveen Parmar on WhatsApp marketing and automation. Here I learned how to send thousands of bulk messages without worrying about getting banned, and I saw 10x boost in my sales. This is simple yet so effective business hack. I want all the small and medium business owners to attend this workshop. You will find a button below and click and book your spot right away.
Hi, I'm Naveen Parmar, a WhatsApp marketing and automation expert and Chief Marketing Officer at Skill Nation. In my 2-day live workshop, I will teach you how to send bulk messages with multimedia file without getting banned on WhatsApp, how to send automated replies to your lead and convert them into paying customer, set up your online store on WhatsApp Business for free, optimize your WhatsApp Business profile to get 3x sales, and much more exclusively inside this 2-day workshop. And the best part is you do not need any technical or marketing skills to join. More than 9,000 business owners and marketers like you have already attended this workshop, and now they are leveraging the power of WhatsApp marketing and automation. So what are you waiting for? Click on the button below, register now, and I will see you inside the workshop.
Middle class trap. Right now I'm in Bangalore, and I want you to look at that building right now. Now, imagine people living in that building. How much money do you think they must be making on an average? 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh, 2 lakh. But imagine if you're making 2 lakh a month. What would be the rent of that? 30,000, 40,000, 50,000? And then what is your expenses? 50,000, 1 lakh? Hardly you're saving 50,000 a month. And on top of that, car loan, home loan, so many loans that you have if you bought one, taking care of your family, your parents. Basta kya hai? Nothing. This is called a middle class trap. We have been brainwashed to live a mediocre life, forced to continue to work in that job, pay the money and die. Is that what you really want in your life? Now the thing is, I was in that middle class trap, and I came out of it in the year 2018. I quit my job and I built the business on passion. Ever since, I can travel the world, live in fanciest places. I live in Dubai, meet amazing people, share the stage with some renowned entrepreneurs and philanthropists. I contribute to a lot of children's education. In fact, we spend 8 crores in just educating children. I could do all that only because I came out of that middle class trap. And I know you listening to this, you resonate with my feeling. You are also in that trap. How do you come out of that? How do you become wealthy? Is by doing things which you have never done before, meaning going beyond your 9-to-5 life, starting something on your own around your passion. But you're wondering, how, where, what is the idea? I need money. No, none of these things you need. All you need is your passion, your knowledge, and a computer with the internet. If you have all that, you can build a business around passion and come out of this middle class trap. If you want my help, I'm doing a webinar, which is a 3-hour webinar. If you join, I'm going to share a blueprint called Passion Blueprint, which is helping you to build your business around passion. It has helped so many of my mentees come out of the middle class trap, and it can help you as well. Many of my mentees become crorepati, TEDx speaker, authors, coach, and so many things they've accomplished in such a short period of time. You'll be shocked to know their stories. Click the link. I'll see you in the webinar. Book the seat before the offer goes away. Take care. This is Dave Gadvi on a mission to transform 1 billion lives. And I hope you will allow me, give me an opportunity to serve you and help you to come out of the middle class trap. Become the crorepati, first generation crorepati in your life.
When I joined Dave Gadvi, I transformed myself.
He's someone who has a heart of gold. My perspective towards seeing the business has changed. He was a person I will always look as an epitome of serving.
Building up that enthusiasm and energy to go behind what you like, that's what Dave Gadvi had impacted a lot around this.
With respect, in fact, just responding to what my lord has said, I have full details of who purchased the bond, but that's put in one silo of information. I have full details of where the money came from, which is in the second silo, and I have a complete detail of which political party tendered how many bonds and who has been paid how much. That's an easy ask. That can be given straight away. The problem is, Manoj, I have to now put the name of the purchaser, which is in the first sealed packet, and these are all physically kept. They were not put into the banking system. Each form will have to be taken out, the name checked, that name now correlated to the payment detail, and the payment detail correlated to the bond, and finally that's where the bond number gets generated, and then we can connect as to which political party who has given that money. Now,
That's not been asked, Mr. Hardway.
But I have to
give direction to correlate it with the purchaser and the political party.
Manoj, para 76 does suggest that. Would your lordship just see it for a moment? If you know?
Don't go by what is suggested. Whatever you wanted to speak, we have spoken in black and white.
No, in that, Manoj, your lordships, please see that sentence. I'm not, Manoj, we have no desire at all to try and expand our own job, Manoj. Please see page 76. This by itself is creating difficulties. Manoj, your lordship say the details shall include date of purchase of a bond, no problem. But the moment I have to give the detail of the name with the bond number, that is taking time because we have deliberately put these in two silos. If your lordships want only the details of who purchased the bonds, we can give that straight away.
Mr. Sarve, our judgment is dated 15th of February 2024.
Yes, ma'am.
We are now on the 11th of March.
Yes.
In the last 26 days, what extent of matching has been done by you? What steps have you taken in the last 26 days? The application is absolutely silent on that.
We can put a detailed affidavit on that one because I know
it should have been disclosed in the affidavit.
I agree, man. I agree.
State Bank of India, which is coming to us, we expect that there should be a degree of candor on the part of the State Bank of India. That this is what the work which we have done. The work is at this stage. We need an extension of time to carry out the balance of the exercise which remains.
But we have sought to explain the problem and the work is going on because each form, it'll have to be form by form.
Going on to what extent you have reached?
But work is going on form by form. They will, I can give the exact detail of how many we have covered and how many more we can cover. But they did a rough calculation. It will take about 3 months more. Because I'll tell you my other concern. I have another big concern, Manoj. I cannot make a mistake in this. I'll get sued by the donor. I'll get sued by people because I cannot by mistake say A got it when B had it.
Highest court of this country. So where is the question of you being sued?
I'm sorry, Manoj.
You are being.
Do you know that why in India people do not do the financial planning? Because it doesn't have any immediate repercussion. What does that mean? It means that if you have a headache, after 15-20 minutes you are going to the doctor to see the doctor and get the medicine done. But if you do not do the financial planning, the result will happen after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years and 20 years, and then you cannot go back. And that's what I keep recommending people, how you can start creating your financial planning right now so that your daughter's education, marriage, home, car, retirement planning, traveling and everything can get happen. And if you would like to know more about that, how you can do your financial planning, I conduct 3 days workshop where I will be helping you how you can overcome with that one. Hi, my name is Dr. Sandeep Gupta. I'm a Wealth Accelerator coach. I'm Amazon #1 bestseller called Wealth Mastery, TEDx speaker and more. Yeah, click the link below, join my 3 days workshop where I will be helping you how you can achieve financial freedom by 2025.
Whatever you are doing under the directions of the highest court of
No, my lord. If I make a mistake, if I say Mr. X got it instead of Mr. Y got it, in a hurry to give the numbers, I could create havoc there, my lord, because ultimately.
As we take it, Mr. Salve, you are accepting that there is no difficulty in giving names of the donors who purchased the bonds and the amount they purchased the bonds. You have got no difficulty in giving details of the political parties who have purchased the particular bonds. The only difficulty is matching the purchased bond with that. But 26 days, you must have carried out at least some, say 10,000 bonds you have been able to collate, 5,000 bonds you have been able to collate.
Quite frankly, what I saw, they were struggling with it. They were making charts which we saw were not matching. I'll tell you what has happened. No, I'll tell you candidly what has happened.
If I'm not mistaken, it was pointed out to us that the bonds had some number which under some instrument they were able to.
Yes. But that number,
all has to be done.
No, my lord, that number is not to be found in the application for purchase or in the first set of documents. The problem is that number, when number was generated, that number has been scrambled and put elsewhere, and that number has been kept secret. Now, putting that will require tracing it into each transaction. At the stage of the interim order, and I'm saying what happened at that time. The kind of information which your lordship asked was a macro information. So
Wait,
that is no problem.
In pursuance of the interim order,
yes,
Election Commission of India has filed, details before us,
or whatever they have,
in separate silos, if we can use that expression.
Yes,
the ministry has placed that in a secured custody with us. We'll direct them to open it here right now, because since we were deciding a point of constitutional validity, we didn't consider it necessary either during the course of the hearing or thereafter. We can ask them to open it, and we'll ask the Election Commission of India to divulge whatever there is, and we'll ask SBI to then divulge what we have asked them to do.
Yes, we'll do it. We'll send it to
before us.
Your lordship.
Mr. Sharma, whatever has been placed by you before us, in compliance with the judgment, we will direct that to be open right now.
And your lordship directed us to give it to the ECI. So we give it to the ECI, or your lordship wants us to file it directly in court? I think better through the ECI.
No, you, Mr. Salve, you comply with the order of the court.
To give it to the ECI.
Whatever ECI has placed in the court.
Already.
Hi everyone. 3999 എന്ന ചെറിയ ഫീസിൽ ഒരു ഗസറ്റഡ് തസ്തികയിലേക്ക് പ്രിപ്പറേഷൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്താലോ? അതെ, ഫുഡ് സേഫ്റ്റി ഓഫീസറായി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സമൂഹത്തിൽ ഒരു പോസിറ്റീവ് കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ നടത്താൻ പാകത്തിന് ഗസറ്റഡ് തസ്തികയിൽ സർവീസിലേക്ക് പ്രവേശിക്കാൻ ഈ ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി മറക്കാതെ പ്രയോജനപ്പെടുത്തുക. നൂറുകണക്കിന് വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളെ ഗവൺമെന്റ് സർവീസിലേക്ക് എത്തിച്ച I+ന്റെ ടീമിനോടൊപ്പം ഈ പരീക്ഷയിൽ 1ാം റാങ്കും HSST പരീക്ഷയിലൊക്കെ ടോപ്പ് റാങ്കുകളിൽ 10-ലധികം വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളെ എത്തിച്ച സ്ഥാപനത്തിന്റെ എക്സ്പെർട്ട് ഫാക്കൽറ്റികളുടെ ടീമിനോടൊപ്പം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ചേർന്ന് പഠിക്കാനുള്ള അവസരമാണ്. റെക്കോർഡഡ് ക്ലാസ്സുകളും കൃത്യമായിട്ടുള്ള പരീക്ഷകളും നോട്ടുകളും മെന്റർഷിപ്പും എല്ലാം ഈ ചെറിയ ഫീസിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അവൈൽ ചെയ്യാം. പരീക്ഷ എന്നാണോ അതുവരെ വാലിഡിറ്റി ഉണ്ടാവുകയും ചെയ്യും. ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് ട്രയൽ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ കാണും. ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ I+ൽ കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്യൂ. അഡ്മിഷൻ എടുത്ത് വിജയം ഉറപ്പാക്കൂ. ഓൾ ദി ബെസ്റ്റ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Very rough, not just for the broader markets, but the front line
index also cracked and traded yesterday. The whole universe pretty much seems to be coming off.
Yeah.
But there could be some relief, hopefully, after such a big fall. A little bit of a dead cat bounce cannot be ruled out, I'd imagine, or I'd like to hope
And I mean,
for our viewers.
after a 12.5% crash from the peak and a 5% gash in small caps in a single day, it's easy to bet your last dollar that today will not be as bad. At least, yes, maybe.
As bad. So yesterday we were talking about how deep is the red, and you know, fundamentally there is a fear factor which needs to dissipate, which I suppose will happen. The 15th March is an important date for many, many reasons, and this is what has led to some of the concern. IDs of March. So 15th March, Friday, becomes an important day. Will you see that uncertainty going in? There's a stress test, there's electoral bond data going to be out on that day.
There's tax harvesting.
Yeah, but 15th March specifically.
Yeah, March is painful.
Yeah, and March is painful on top of it. So
Will
all
we
of
see
those
an
things.
to Brutus?
Maybe. But maybe a recovery today, hopefully, like Samina said. Having said that, what we're going to try and do on the show today is try and give you as much information as possible to make the right decision, because frankly, this is not an opening that one can predict very easily. I don't think anyone in the market right now will come out and say this is exactly what's going to happen. Having said that, let's take a look at what global cues were indicating. It was a mixed kind of a bag as far as global cues are concerned. The mega cap tech rally seems to have paused, at least for a breath, and that's what's led to those mixed cues on Wall Street. NVIDIA kind of dragged down not just the NASDAQ, but the S&P 500 as well. Not a massive slide, 1.5%. But you saw an Apple and other counters like that showing bits of pain as well. The US 10-year is something that I would like to highlight, because those concerns over there on the kind of inflation data we saw. Remember, PPI will be out later today. That's the Producers Price Index. Gives you a more wholesale kind of a picture. It's estimated to grow at 0.3% in Feb. It's the last big data set before the next Fed meet. Nothing is expected to happen in March in terms of rate cuts, but all of these data points then become important. And hence, let's look at the 10-year, which has been sort of inching up by, so 4.19% on the 10-year as well. And that's on the back of inflation outlook. Crude is a bit of story. So crude had a jump, 84 to a barrel on the Brent, because since January this year, Ukrainian drones have been mounting attacks on Russian refineries. Now, we sort of kind of forget that war is still on. In this part of the world at least, but now the tactic seems to be to attack Russian refineries to hit their economy. That has been going on, and then you saw a bit of a pain as far as Brent is concerned. Asian markets are largely mixed, no clear cues from there either. So if you're thinking of a clear direction, say globally, that's not happening. Look at it. The Nikkei typically down right now because all of the data is pointing to a possible rate hike at this point. So quite contrary to what's happening around the world. So that's as far as Asian markets are concerned, but we should take some time to recap what happened yesterday, Samina. And the close was truly one which left the market wondering what is happening. And we at NDTV Profit had a whole host of experts coming in and saying that you might see trouble for some time.
You might feel trouble for some time, and they've talked about this, right? They've talked about this for months at a stretch, saying that the broader markets look expensive, it's time to rebalance your portfolio. In fact, I think every advisor worth his salt has actually gone out and told investors that while past performance has been very, very great for some of these broader market names, it is time to rebalance portfolios, and I think this is a great opportune moment for investors to actually go out and do that. Sure, the falls are very painful. The portfolios have cracked more than the benchmark has actually cracked, but if you put all of that in perspective, the falls that we've seen are not a patch or a drop on the kind of gains some of these stocks or sectors have seen from April 2023 in the last 1 year. So while it looks painful right now, let's not forget that investors, traders, bulls on the street have made jars and pocket full of money. So nothing to be really concerned about in that sense. If we talk about the returns more holistically, implied Nifty indicating to another flat morning. A dead cat bounce cannot be ruled out after a pretty rough last few days. But let's take you through what worried the markets over the last couple of days in terms of sentiment. Firstly, you've got margin calls from brokers. Now, those are also gone up. Remember, leverage trade was the big game for a lot of traders and bulls on the street, and a lot of that action was focused in the broader markets. But with liquidity concerns, with the fact that some of these counters have been declining so very sharply, brokerage calls have also gone up substantially. So you're tightening your wallet in that sense is what could have led to limited sort of trade on the street. Apart from that, the ED raid on Hawala operator Tibriwal has also spooked or freaked out a lot of those stock operators who operate in the broader markets. They, of course, a little more concerned, a little more cautious. These operators now pretty much gone into hiding as we see it on fears of ED raids on them too. Apart from that, it's also the March effect. Remember, in the last 23 years, 56% of percent times, which is about out of 23 times, 13 times the markets have actually ended negative. Couple of reasons for that. It is the year end, so you want to clean up your books, take off any risky assets that you see. You've also got tax harvesting that happens. So those are a few factors that could have spooked the sentiment. Of course, and the SEBI did its job and did its job well of talking about froth in the markets. I think that one statement did what was required to be done. You know, all that talk by fund managers, FIIs, anchors, journalists couldn't do much.
So Samina, I think, and Neeraj, you have to look at it this way, that SEBI chair has spoken about what she's already been doing. SEBI has already sort of told the mutual fund industry that look at the kind of build-up in small cap funds. There's a stress test coming on March 15. So 3 key reasons that at least I saw. And I want to start the first one by just playing out a small clip of exactly what SEBI chief Madhvi Puri Buch said. Let's just play that out to give you some perspective.
Principles for Success, an ultra mini series adventure in 30 minutes and in 8 episodes. Episode 1, The Call to Adventure. Before we begin, let me just establish the fact that I don't know much relative to what I need to know. Whatever success I've had in life has more to do with my knowing how to deal with my not knowing than anything I know. That I should be telling other people what to do sounds kind of presumptuous to me. But I'm going to do it because I believe that the principles that have made me successful could help others achieve their own goals. I'm now at a stage in my own life in which it is much more important to me to pass along what I've learned about how to be successful than to seek more success for myself. What you choose to do with these principles is up to you. You have to be an independent thinker because only you can develop your own principles based on your own values. This brings me to my first and most fundamental principle, which is that you need to think for yourself about what is true. So let's get started. Early on, I discovered I needed principles. Principles are smart ways for handling things that happen over and over again in similar situations. There are principles for everything, from skiing to parenting to cooking and so on. I'm going to share some of my most important overarching life principles that influence how we approach everything that we do. I didn't start out with principles. I acquired them over a lifetime of experiences, mostly from making mistakes and reflecting on them. My life principles are simple, but they're not complete. I still struggle to make the best decisions, and I still make mistakes and learn new principles all the time. This is the reality. At the beginning, I needed to escape the conventions that surrounded me, which meant that I needed to think for myself. Unless you want to have a life that is directed by others, you need to decide for yourself what to do, and you need to have the courage to do it. But I didn't know that at first. I only learned that from going on my adventure. Looking back on my own journey, I now see that time is like a river. that carries us forward into encounters with reality that require us to make decisions. We can't stop our movement down this river, and we can't avoid the encounters. We can only approach them in the best possible way. In your lifetime, you will face millions of decisions. The quality of your decisions will determine the quality of your life. Over the course of my lifetime, the most valuable things I've learned were the results of mistakes I reflected on to help form principles so I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. These principles took me from being a very ordinary middle-class kid from Long Island to becoming very successful as judged by conventional measures. They also gave me the meaningful work and meaningful relationships that I value even more than these conventional successes. People often ask me how I did it. I can assure you it wasn't because of my uniqueness as a person. It was the result of a unique approach to life I believe almost anybody can adopt. It starts with embracing reality and dealing with it. The path you take in life is your most important decision. In my case, I wanted my life to be great, and I feared boredom and mediocrity more than I feared failure. Since I didn't start out with money, and I didn't need much more than a bed to sleep in and food to eat, I could skew my decisions to pursue my adventures. So ever since I was a kid, I ran after the things I wanted, crashed, got up and ran again, and crashed again, and each time I crashed, I learned something, got better, and crashed less. By doing that over and over again, I learned to love this process, even the crashing part of it. Through it, I encountered reality, and I learned how to deal with it, which inspired another one of my most fundamental principles, which is that truth is the essential foundation for producing good outcomes. By truth, I don't mean anything more than the way the world works. I believe that we were given the laws of reality by nature. Humans didn't create them, but we can use them to foster our own evolution and achieve our goals. Realizing that made me a hyper-realist, by which I mean I became someone who has discovered the great rewards of deeply understanding, accepting, and working with reality as it is, and not as I wish it would be. When I say I'm a hyper-realist, people sometimes think I'm saying that dreams can't come true. That's absolutely not true. Without pursuing dreams, life is mundane. What I mean is that, to me, hyper-realism is the best way to choose one's dreams and then achieve them. Having big dreams, plus embracing reality, plus having lots of determination will bring you a successful life. I believe this formula is true for everyone. But what does a successful life look like? We each have to decide for ourselves what success is. I don't care whether you want to be a master of the universe or to live under a palm tree or anything else. I really don't. Each of us chooses goals based on our values and decides on the best path to achieve them. But we all need approaches to making decisions that work well, especially when facing problems, mistakes, and weaknesses that stand in our way. To succeed, we must embrace all our realities, especially the harsh realities that we wish weren't true. At first, looking at these harsh realities caused me a lot of pain. But I learned that this pain was just psychological, and that my seeing things differently made all the difference. I came to view problems like puzzles that would reward me if I could solve them. They would help me deal with the problem at hand, and they would give me principles for dealing with similar problems in the future. I learned to treat pain as a cue, that a great learning opportunity is at hand, which led me to realize that pain plus reflection equals progress. Meditation has been invaluable in helping me see things that way. I found that when I calmed myself down and embraced my realities and dealt with them, the rewards brought me pleasure and the pain faded. Each of us has the unique capability to think logically, to reflect on ourselves and our circumstances, and to direct our own personal evolution. Doing this well is just a matter of following a simple 5-step process. We've discussed how important it is to reflect carefully after experiencing pain. When I did this, I was usually able to discover principles that would prevent me from repeating the same mistakes in the future. And I could see that being successful simply consisted of 5 steps. Step 1 is to know your goals and run after them. What is best for you depends on your nature, so you need to really understand yourself and know what you want to achieve in life. Step 2 is to encounter the problems that stand in the way of getting to your goals. These problems are typically painful. If handled badly, some of them can lead to your ruin. But to evolve, you need to identify those problems and not tolerate them. Step 3 is to diagnose these problems to get at their root causes. Don't jump too quickly to solutions. Take a step back and reflect in order to really distinguish the symptoms from the disease. Step 4 is to design a plan to eliminate the problems. This is where you will determine what you need to do to get around them. And step 5 is to execute those designs, pushing yourself to do what's needed to progress toward your goal. A successful life essentially consists of doing these 5 steps over and over again. This is your personal evolution, and you see this process everywhere. It's just a law of nature. Think of any product, any organization, or any person you know, and you will see that this is true for them. Evolution is simply a process of either adapting or dying. Conceptually, it looks just like the 5-step process I've described. As you push through this often painful process, you'll naturally ascend to higher and higher levels of success. I found that when I did it better, my struggling never became easier, because the more capable I became, the greater the challenges I would take on. Because different people are strong and weak at different things, most people can't do all 5 steps well. Not facing this reality means you could stretch further than you should. And as the heights get greater, your falls could also be greater. Sometimes terrible things happen to all of us in life. They can ruin us, or they can profoundly improve us, depending on how we handle them. Something like this happened to me in 1982. We progress forward until we encounter setbacks. Whether or not we get out of them and continue forward or spiral downward depends on whether or not we're willing to face the failure objectively and make the right decisions to turn the loop upward again. Something terrible happened to me in 1982 when I bet everything on a depression that never came. The period between 1979 and 1982 was one of extreme turbulence for the global economy, the markets, and for me. And I believe that the U.S. economy, with the world economy tied to it, was headed toward a catastrophe. This view was extremely controversial. I wanted the great upside and very publicly took a big risk and was wrong, dead wrong. After a delay, the stock market began a big bull market that lasted 18 years, and the U.S. economy enjoyed the greatest growth period in its history. This experience was like a blow to my head with a baseball bat. I had to cut my losses so that my company, Bridgewater, was left with one employee, me. I was so broke I had to borrow $4,000 from my dad to pay my bills. But even worse was having to let go the people I cared so much about. I wondered whether I should give up my dream of working for myself and play it safe by working for someone else in a job that would require me to put on a tie and commute every day. Though I knew that for me, taking less risk would mean having a less great life. Being so wrong, and especially being so publicly wrong, was painfully humbling. I am still shocked and embarrassed by how arrogant I was in being totally confident in a totally incorrect view. Though I'd been right much more than I'd been wrong, I had let one bad bet erase all my good ones. I thought very hard about the relationship between risk and reward and how to manage them. But I couldn't see a path forward that would give me the rewards I wanted without unacceptable risk. This kind of experience happens to everyone. It will happen to you. You will lose something or someone you think you can't live without, or you will suffer a terrible illness or injury, or your career will fall apart before your eyes. You might think that your life is ruined and that there is no way to go forward, but it will pass. I assure you that there is always a best path forward, and you probably just don't see it yet. You just have to reflect well to find it. You have to embrace your reality. Sometimes things happen that are hard to understand. Life often feels so difficult and complicated. It's too much to take in all at once. My deep pain led me to reflect deeply on my circumstances. It also led me to reflect on nature because it provides a guide for what's true. So I thought a lot about how things work, which helped to put me and my own circumstances in perspective. I saw that at the Big Bang, all the laws and forces of the universe were created and propelled forward, interacting with each other as a perpetual motion machine in which all the bits and pieces coalesce into machines that work for a while, fall apart, and then coalesce into new machines. This goes on into eternity. I saw that everything is a machine. The structure and evolution of galaxies, the formation of our own solar system, the makeup of Earth's geography and ecosystems, our economies and markets, and each of us. We individually are machines made up of different machines. Our circulatory system, our nervous system, that produce our thoughts, our dreams, our emotions, and all the other aspects of our distinct characters. All of these different machines evolve together through time to produce the realities we encounter every day. And I realized that I was just one tiny bit in 1 nanosecond deciding what I should do. While that perspective might sound very philosophical, I found that it was very practical because it showed me how I could deal with my own realities in a better way. For example, I observed that most everything happens over and over again in slightly different ways. Some in obvious short-term cycles that are easy to recognize, so we know how to deal with them, like the 24-hour day. Some so infrequently that they haven't occurred in our lifetimes, and we're shocked when they do, like the once-in-a-100-year storm. And some we know exist, but are encountering for the first time, like the birth of our first child. Most people mistakenly treat these situations as being unique and deal with them without having proper perspective or principles to help them get through them. I found that if instead of dealing with these events as one-offs, I could see each as just another one of those, and approach them in the same way a biologist might approach an animal, first identifying its species, then drawing on principles for dealing with it appropriately. Because I could see these events transpire in pretty much the same ways over and over, I could more clearly see the cause-effect relationships that govern their behaviors, which allowed me to develop better principles that I could express in both words and algorithms. I learned that while most everyone expects the future to be a slightly modified version of the present, it is typically very different. That's because people are biased by recent history and overlook events that haven't happened in a long time, perhaps not